As always, on such occasions, the dead are never far from our thoughts and prayers. And today is such a day as we see almost 60,000 names listed next to their comrades in their order of death from the Vietnam War. And somehow, simply touching those names gives us the last connection that we were deprived of in life. On my first visit to the memorial in Washington, D.C., I felt that I could finally visit the cemetery where my friends and comrades reside forever together. The wall is unique. It's simply and elegantly declares the names of those who paid the price, the ultimate price for our cherished freedoms. The wall is deeply personal and singular, and at the same time public and powerful. Never has a monument created more controversy or respect for those whom it memorializes. So we are left with the stark yet quiet and beautiful reminder, just the names, as was the designer's intent, that we are compelled to focus on and remember the individual, the human being that's there represented. The last time I visited the memorial in Washington, D.C., I was annoyed by the unusually large crowd. I think Vietnam veterans tend to think of it as theirs, and we have to remember we have to share it with everyone. It's the most visited monument in the country, as you know, in Washington. As I walked closer, I noticed there are a great many roses and signs and mementos left at the base of the wall sections, more than usual, and it was hard for me to get close to the wall due to the crowd. I was exasperated. And then I realized it was Father's Day. The wall was alive with children and grandchildren, even great-grandchildren, born long after the particular names that they were tracing with tiny fingers. Heartbreaking, yes, but more importantly, there was a silent joy because 25, 30, 40 years later, the men's sacrifices and the women's sacrifices, the names on the wall are well remembered, cherished, honored, and that's all they ever wanted. It's why they rode to the sound of guns, answered the call of duty, honored country. Those of us who survived that war, and most did, will not be remembered beyond our friends and family. But those honored dead on the wall, and its replica as it forms the backdrop for our gathering today, will be remembered and cherished as long as there is an America. It's a fitting legacy. The first to die in Vietnam were Army Master Sergeant Chester Ovenund and Major Dale Buse, 1959. The last to die were Marine Corporal Charles McMahon, Lance Corporal Darwin Judge, U.S. Embassy guards killed in the final evacuation of Saigon, 29 April 1975. The statistics are stark, dry bits of history. 2.7 million Americans served in the war. Of the casualties on this war behind me, approximately 1,300 never returned or accounted for. Approximately 2/3 of all Vietnam KIAs, 38,000, were lost in only 3 years, 67, 68, and 69. We can roughly estimate that the average of 320 died on this day, each Veterans Day of the Vietnam War. But what of the names on the wall? The lives that could have been, the dreams shattered, accomplishments left unfilled, a bleak truth wrapped in a shroud. Their names live with us still, and yet they are far more than simply names. They're, along with our honored dead, are the threads which hold this fabric of our nation together. The names are found in the very seasons we experience, especially as this day retreats from fall to winter and gives way to another gone year. There was Timothy Spring of Chicago, a first lieutenant who had not yet reached his 21st birthday. There was Donald L. Summer, an Army private from Main Hill, New Mexico, and John Winter of Brewton, Alabama. The names flow through the countryside of our history, even in our very cities and town. Billy W. Childress was from Fort Worth. He shares the wall with Harry J. Boston, who lived in North Carolina. Commander Carl Austin came from Woodburn, Oregon. There was Larry Cleveland from Long Beach, Benny Houston from Chicago, Chi-Town, the Windy City, the city with big shoulders. The small town of Hope, Arkansas gave 3 of her sons to the Vietnam War. The names of John Barr, Harold Cumby, Eddie Roberts will not be remembered long outside their community. But they are far more worthy of our respect than that other son of Hope, Arkansas, the one who lied and cheated and cowered when duty called, and one we all remember. And we all also remember that someone had to go in his place. The history of our nation's leaders is also evoked as we walk quietly past 58,000 names. There's John F. Kennedy, an Army PFC from Lima, Ohio. Gary Lincoln came from Eaton, Ohio. William Eisenhower from Trout Run, Pennsylvania. Andy Jackson enlisted from our nation's capital. And George Washington hailed from Charleston, South Carolina. There are 687 Smiths, 200 of them named John. 22 of them named John. Jones is well represented with 346. The Wilsons are listed at 209. And we also find the colors of the rainbow. Whites, number 198. Black has 170. There are 189 with the surname Green. We find 40 golds, as well as Ron, John, and James Blue. The Browns run more than 400, and there's only one pink, Joseph Patrick of San Jacinto, California. The published directory of the Vietnam dead weighs 2 pounds and is about the size of a medium phone book. The names therein even reflect the professions of our country, the workers who literally built a nation like no other, and one that has truly become the shining city on the hill, the last great hope of mankind. Eddie Carpenter was a corporal from Lexington, Kentucky. There are 200 tailors, including Dennis, PFC from Montezuma, Tennessee, and Eddie Saylor came from landlocked Kansas City. Lonnie Merchant, James Farmer, Stan Pilot are among the names on the wall. There are also military ranks. Steve Major, a Marine lieutenant, would not live to make his rank and his name the same. And George Sargent died as a lieutenant colonel. Leslie N. General was a Marine corporal from Niagara Falls, and he outranked them all. No doubt he was the target of his drill instructor, who always wanted to know what private general thought of the day's training. These fine men and women, America's best, came from all corners of the country, all points on the compass. Melvin East, Charlie West, John South, Claude Eugene North, the PFC from Muncie. Joe Denny and Earl shared the same holiday name, Easter, and today would have been Earl's 67th birthday. December 25th was no doubt extra special for Loy, Michael, and Paul Christmas, each one taken in their 21st year. 161 Americans died on Christmas during the Vietnam War, and slightly less than 200 on the 1st of January, far from home, never to see that year unfold. So today, let us go forward from this monument with these men and women in our hearts. Don't leave them here. Take them with you and allow the reminders of their life to stay with you. As we have learned today, they are with us in our daily lives. May we always be inspired by their example. We live for them because they died for us. May God bless them, their memories, and may God bless their very names. Thank you.